Mobile Mayor Sam Jones is pushing 3 ideas to curb crime in the Port City.
He's drawn up ordinances on copper sales, indecent exposure, and a teen curfew. So tonight, we wanted to hear what some of you thought about those ideas.
Fox 10 News reporter John Rogers was at that public meeting. He joins us live from Government Plaza with more, including an interview with the mayor. John?
Hello, Bob and Lenise. Yes, a few dozen people filled the auditorium here at Government Plaza tonight to go give their take on tackling crime in this city. And joining us here live now is Mayor Sam Jones. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us here at 9 and in the rain to share with us about this. So tell us, for the viewers who aren't entirely sure, about these 3 ordinances that you are pushing.
Well, actually, 2 of them are amendments. There's an amendment to our copper theft ordinance that we're dealing with, and that amendment just requires the dealers to mail checks to the individuals who sell copper. The other one is an amendment to our indecent exposure ordinance. We've heard it called the saggy pants ordinance. We don't have a saggy pants ordinance. You can actually have saggy pants and still comply with the ordinance on indecent exposure. You must either show a naked part of the body or underwear in order to be in violation. So that ordinance is there. And then the curfew. The curfew is the one that people had a lot of concern about, a lot of interest in, and quite frankly tonight, quite a bit of support for.
Certainly in this meeting. Also, an interesting thing that was brought up were these statistics that an officer showed to the audience, saying a large majority of crimes actually don't happen overnight, but over the daytime. Do these ordinances that you're pushing address this?
Yes, they do. We have a daytime school curfew, and what we've found is that when kids are off campus during school time, they get into other problems, they get into other troubles. A lot of them is burglary, a lot of them is home invasion, a lot of it is just theft, and what we've found is that part of the day is very important. But we want those kids to be in school doing what they should be doing. We're not interested in arresting them. We're not interested in picking them up. We simply want them to be where they need to be, and that's at school during the school day. At night, we want them to be at home. During the school week, 11 o'clock at night is the curfew time. On the weekend, 12 o'clock. My parents used to say nothing happens good for kids after 12 o'clock at night, so we ought to be at home. So that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that these kids are there and accounted for, and their families are responsible for where they are during the day and night.
There were a few people at this meeting, also others that we've spoken with, that brought up an interesting point that basically more funding for the police force would be helpful. Some of these laws have already been in the books, they just haven't been enforced. What do you feel about this?
Well, actually, some people are confusing truancy laws with the curfew that we have. Our police department is in the community all the time. The problem with the police department, they have no probable cause at this point to stop a young person who's wandering the street during the day. This curfew law gives them probable cause to stop and inquire as to why that kid is not where they're supposed to be. That's one of the key things to the ordinance. Certainly it would help to have a lot more policemen. We think we can make a serious impact with the force that we have if we have the laws on the book to allow them to do that.
So what's the next step from here? When can we see these ordinances in the books?
It's at the City Council now, and the City Council will have a committee meeting, I understand, on the 9th of this month, and I don't know whether that meeting will continue to some other time. We would like to see this passed prior to the school year starting so we can transition it into the school year. Hopefully the City Council will move in time to do that. The one thing that we've got to understand with the issues we're seeing, with the youth crime we're seeing, we are at the option now of doing something or doing nothing at all. I don't think doing nothing is an option, so we've got to move forward with this.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Mayor, and best wishes to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll certainly have more on this coming up later in the broadcast. In the meantime, reporting live from downtown Mobile, John Rogers, Fox 10 News.
Thank you, John.